The persistent drizzle over Buckingham Palace offered no hint of the quiet storm brewing within its gilded corridors. For generations, the inner workings of the House of Windsor have been guarded behind heavy oak doors, smooth diplomacy, and an unyielding commitment to the age-old royal mantra, never complain, never explain. Yet as the rain slicked the cobblestones of the grand courtyard, an unprecedented shift was taking place, one born of necessity, unexpected fragility, and the urgent need for absolute operational stability. Queen Camilla, long regarded as King Charles's most steadfast emotional anchor and a tireless presence on the royal circuit, has been hit by an unforeseen health crisis, forcing an immediate, sweeping recalculation at the very summit of the British monarchy. The news sent immediate shockwaves through the royal household. Camilla, who had seamlessly stepped into her role as queen consort, taking on dozens of high-profile patronages and maintaining a grueling schedule of public engagements, was forced to clear her diary entirely. What initially began as whispers of severe fatigue and a lingering respiratory issue rapidly escalated into a comprehensive medical stand-down under the strict instructions of palace physicians. For King Charles, who has himself been navigating a complex health journey and managing his own rigorous medical treatments while keeping the crown moving forward, the sudden loss of his top confidant and public partner was a devastating blow. The king relied heavily on Camilla's quiet composure and firm presence to balance the incredible demands of the sovereign's duties. With the queen consort sidelined and requiring total rest, a massive void emerged at the heart of the firm. Behind closed doors at Sandringham, the atmosphere was described by insiders as taut and decisive. King Charles realized immediately that the palace could not afford an operational vacuum. While public attention naturally focused on the health updates emerging from the medical team, a far more critical structural dilemma was unfolding within the sovereign's private offices. The administrative weight of managing the crown's sprawling assets, the privy purse, the vast holdings of the Duchy of Lancaster, and the intricate distribution of the sovereign grant required immediate, unflinching oversight. The king's personal energy needed to be strictly preserved for state papers, constitutional duties, and his ongoing medical regimen. He could not afford to be bogged down in the endless financial audits, property management decisions, and budgetary restructuring that the modern monarchy demands daily. With Prince William already stretched to his absolute limits, balancing his immense responsibilities as Duke of Cornwall, maintaining his own expanding charitable portfolio, and supporting Princess Catherine through her health recovery, the king needed someone with unquestioned authority, decades of financial discipline, and a steel-ribbed dedication to the crown. There was only one person in the family who fit every single requirement without a single moment's hesitation. Charles turned to the person who has long been heralded as the hardest-working royal in modern history, his sister, Princess Anne. In an extraordinary and historically unprecedented maneuver, King Charles officially handed over direct administrative oversight of the royal family's financial portfolio to the Princess Royal. The decision was swift, deliberate, and spoke volumes about the trust Charles places in his sister. Princess Anne, known globally for her direct, no-nonsense approach and legendary work ethic, was granted sweeping authority to streamline household expenditures, oversee investment allocations, and manage the administrative machinery that keeps the royal estate functioning smoothly. For royal observers, the move was a masterstroke of pragmatism, but within palace walls, it represented a monumental realignment of power. Anne's reputation for financial frugality and operational efficiency is unmatched. Unlike the complex public relations machinery that often surrounds younger generations of the family, the Princess Royal has always approached her duties with the precision of a seasoned executive. Having completed over 11,000 official engagements over 5 decades, she understands the inner mechanics of the royal budget better than almost anyone alive. When Charles presented the emergency proposal during a private council, Anne accepted the mandate without drama. Her first order of business was to establish a streamlined financial command structure, reviewing every major operational cost, from estate maintenance to diplomatic transit, ensuring that not a single sovereign pound was mismanaged, while the king and queen focused on their health. Yet as Princess Anne moved swiftly into her new role, the emotional reality of Camilla's absence weighed heavily on the king. Sources close to the family reveal that Charles was deeply shaken by the suddenness of Camilla's health setback. For years, Camilla had been his constant soundboard, the person who could calm his anxieties, bring light-hearted perspective to intense situations, and share the immense weight of the crown. To see her confined to medical isolation, unable to stand by his side at scheduled state functions, was a poignant reminder of the sheer vulnerability currently facing the upper ranks of the royal family. The slimmed-down monarchy that Charles had envisioned for his reign was now being put to an extreme stress test, pushed far beyond the boundaries of what anyone had anticipated. Despite the heavy atmosphere, the machinery of state could not pause. Princess Anne immediately went to work, holding high-level briefings with the keeper of the Privy Purse and senior Treasury officials at St. James's Palace. Her direct interventions sent a clear, reassuring message to both the government and the British public. The business of the crown remains rock-solid, grounded, and fiercely disciplined. Anne's appointment was not just a temporary fix. It was a firm declaration that the royal family would protect its stability at all costs, leaning heavily on its most experienced soldier in a moment of acute domestic crisis. The administrative corridors of St. James's Palace, usually defined by quiet protocol and measured whispers, quickly transformed into the operational command center for the Princess Royal. Princess Anne did not waste a single moment indulging in symbolic authority. Dressed in her signature sharp-tailored attire, she bypassed the usual pleasantries and dove headfirst into the complex financial ledgers of the royal estate. Her appointment sent an immediate jolt through the palace treasury, where accountants, estate managers, and senior courtiers soon realized that business as usual was officially over. Anne approached the royal purse with the meticulous scrutiny of a forensic auditor, demanding detailed line-item breakdowns of household expenditures, security logistics, and deferred maintenance costs across all major royal residences. While Princess Anne was laying down the law across administrative departments, the situation surrounding Queen Camilla remained a source of intense privacy and deep concern. Within the secluded grounds of Ray Mill House, Camilla's beloved private retreat in Wiltshire, the Queen Consort was under round-the-clock medical observation. Palace bulletins remained characteristically guarded, citing severe exhaustion and an acute infection that necessitated complete withdrawal from public duties, but the underlying tension among her inner circle was palpable. For a woman who had fought so hard over decades to earn the public's affection and prove her devotion to the sovereign, being forced into complete isolation was emotionally taxing. She was acutely aware of how her absence magnified the pressure on her husband, who was battling his own delicate health issues while attempting to maintain the dignity of the throne. For King Charles, watching his wife's sudden physical retreat was a sobering reminder of the fragile thread upon which the contemporary monarchy currently hung. The king spent long hours in his private study at Sandringham, alternating between official red boxes of state papers and anxious telephone updates from Camilla's medical team. The emotional toll was undeniable. Those close to the monarch reported seeing a visible fatigue in his posture that no tailored suit could fully conceal. Yet despite his profound personal worry, Charles drew immense comfort from knowing that his sister was at the helm of the institution's financial and operational engine. In Princess Anne, the king did not just have a royal colleague. He had a fierce, unyielding ally who shared their late mother's absolute obsession with duty, accountability, and quiet resolve. Back in London, Princess Anne's decisive command over the crown's finances began yielding immediate structural shifts. Her primary objective was clear: safeguard the royal treasury against economic volatility while ensuring that every spent sovereign pound directly justified its existence to an increasingly skeptical British public. Anne instituted a rigorous review of non-essential royal travel, overhauled long-standing vendor contracts, and placed a temporary freeze on unnecessary capital expenditure projects across the royal estates. Her philosophy was simple yet ruthless. The royal family had to lead by example during times of national and institutional strain. Private estate directors who had long enjoyed comfortable budgets found themselves called into direct single-subject meetings, where the Princess Royal questioned every single variance with precise, razor-sharp queries. News of Princess Anne taking total control of the purse strings quickly leaked into top-tier financial and political circles, sending a clear signal of stability to Parliament and prime ministerial advisors. Downing Street held immense respect for the Princess Royal's pragmatic, no-nonsense leadership style. At a time when the monarchy faced simultaneous health crises within its core membership, the government needed absolute certainty that the business of state and the management of the sovereign grant were in exceptionally capable hands. Anne's presence at the top of the financial hierarchy acted as an immediate firewall, preventing any potential political opportunistic debates regarding royal funding during a period of institutional vulnerability. Meanwhile, the dynamic between the remaining working royals shifted out of absolute necessity. Prince William, deeply focused on managing his own family duties alongside his vast responsibilities as the Duke of Cornwall, found a powerful strategic partner in his aunt. While William continued to focus on modernizing the Duchy of Cornwall and driving high-impact philanthropic campaigns, Anne took on the heavy lifting of global administrative governance for the wider family. This split-level strategy allowed the Prince of Wales to maintain his long-term vision for the future of the crown without being bogged down by the immediate operational firestorms created by the current health crises. Inside Ray Millhouse, Camilla's recovery progressed at a painfully slow, deliberate pace. Doctors remained firm. Any premature return to public engagements could trigger a dangerous relapse, especially given the intense, exhausting nature of royal walkabouts and state banquets. The Queen Consort was permitted only brief, structured phone calls with the King, who desperately missed her presence at Buckingham Palace. Camilla's private staff worked tirelessly to screen out any distressing news, focusing instead on her physical therapy and rest, but the Queen remained remarkably tuned into the palace's administrative shifts. When informed of Anne's total takeover of financial operations, Camilla reportedly expressed a sense of immense relief, knowing that the structural backbone of the King's reign was locked in an impenetrable vault of competence. As the weeks began to stretch, Princess Anne's influence began reshaping the internal culture of the royal household. Her unpretentious, intensely disciplined approach replaced the lingering traditions of excessive grandiosity with streamlined operational precision. Staff members noted that decision-making times for major administrative approvals had been cut in half under her tenure. Anne's legendary habit of reading every single document provided to her, often late into the night at her Gatcombe Park home after completing a full slate of public duties, meant that no detail went unnoticed. He proved that the monarchy, even when hit by the heavy blows of illness and sudden crisis, possessed an internal strength capable of adapting instantly to preserve the integrity of the crown. Yet, despite these administrative triumphs, the silent shadow over the royal house remained the health of its monarchs. Every public appearance by King Charles was dissected by media outlets searching for signs of strain, while Camilla's total absence from the public eye continued to fuel intense international interest. The public was beginning to realize that the slimmed-down monarchy was no longer just a strategic choice. It was a high-stakes operational reality. With fewer active working royals available to carry the load, the burden on those who remained was immense, placing an extraordinary amount of weight squarely on Princess Anne's capable shoulders. As the weeks blurred into months, the seismic shift at the heart of the royal household evolved from an emergency measure into a quietly formidable reality. The public had slowly grown accustomed to seeing Princess Anne taking an increasingly commanding role, but few outside the high-security perimeter of St. James's Palace understood the full scope of what had actually transpired. Under the King's explicit directive, Princess Anne had completely restructured the operational and financial governance of the crown. She was not merely balancing books. She was safeguarding the institution during one of its most delicate personal crises in modern history. The situation surrounding Queen Camilla's health, though stabilized, remained fragile. What had begun as an acute illness had left the Queen Consort dealing with persistent fatigue and an extended period of mandatory rest under the strict supervision of the royal medical team. Her absence from the front line of public life created a quiet sadness within King Charles's routine. The monarch, still navigating his own health journey, had long depended on Camilla's grounded humor and effortless warmth to soften the grueling weight of his crown. Without her by his side at official state banquets and high-profile receptions, the sheer gravity of his office pressed down on him more heavily than ever. Yet, where there was emotional vulnerability, Princess Anne provided an unyielding wall of operational strength. Embracing her new financial mantle, the Princess Royal systematically dissected the royal household's traditional spending patterns with her trademark clinical efficiency. She instituted an uncompromising austerity doctrine across every department, reviewing every major contract, diplomatic transit logistics, and residential maintenance program across the Crown estate. Anne's philosophy was simple. In an era of national economic uncertainty, the monarchy could not afford even the perception of excess. She cut redundant administrative positions, streamlined inter-palace communications, and redirected saved capital toward long-term preservation efforts for the royal collections and historic sites. Palace insiders noted that under Anne's razor-sharp oversight, budget reviews that used to take months were concluded in days. She demanded absolute transparency, holding household directors personally accountable for every pound allocated from the privy purse and the sovereign grant. Her steel-ribbed leadership did more than just balance the royal ledgers. It created a vital emotional buffer for King Charles. Knowing that his sister had total, unassailable control over the structural and financial machinery of the state, allowed the king to concentrate his finite energy where it mattered most, on his constitutional duties, state papers, and his own health. The trust between the siblings, forged over 7 decades of shared royal duty, became the bedrock upon which the crown maintained its absolute composure. In Wiltshire, as Queen Camilla gradually regained her strength, news of the household's stability brought profound comfort. Though eager to resume her full schedule of public engagements, Camilla recognized that her primary duty was to recover fully so she could once again stand beside her husband. The knowledge that Princess Anne had stepped into the breach with such formidable authority allowed the Queen Consort to heal without the crushing anxiety of feeling she was abandoning her post. The crisis, though born of sudden illness and emotional strain, ultimately revealed the extraordinary resilience hidden within the core of the ancient institution. By placing the monarchy's financial and operational reins in the hands of its most steadfast, disciplined, and tireless servant, King Charles did not just solve an immediate palace emergency, he demonstrated a masterclass in pragmatic leadership. Through the quiet dedication of Princess Anne and the enduring strength of the King and Queen, the House of Windsor proved once again that even in its darkest hours, the business of the crown moves unflinchingly forward.